Alright, edit concrete wall property set. Following property to display for the property windows. When you select one or more existing concrete walls, individual wall property can be with a dial, like right click in and select edit. Property description, general name automatically generated with the name of the wall. Use that can be used to override automatically generated name if required. Top level specified with the top level of the wall. Base level, the bottom level of the wall. Wall type, mesh weird wall, pin, pier, mid, pier, shear wall, bearing wall, multi-pair. Pier shear walls, bearings wall must be rectangular. The vertical plane mesh shear walls can be vertical sloping. Fabrication reinforced precast design precast members and beyond scope of the current release. Auto design clear specified reinforcements checked with during the process. Checked reinforcement was redesigned during the design process. See auto design concrete column. Selecting bars from the object control of the starting point of the auto design procedure, but therefore is only display automatic design on and apply with both longitudinal bars lengths of minima. Default remove of the current arrangement begins with the minimum allowed bar size. Current auto design comments from the current bar arrangement. See auto design concrete column. Assume extra floors supported. Enter for the number of extra floors supported. Mid rotation mid pier only. 0 degree wall span horizontal. 90 wall span vertical. Automatically generated clear support will only be created with the generated support properties. Check the support only with the grade with the dome members and slab capable of providing support existing under the wall. Automatic support generation. Generated support clear. No support created under the wall. Check for the support created under the wall. When the support is created, a line support formed under the mesh wall and point supported under the mid pier wall. Series of points supports under the bearing of the wall. When a support is created, it is degrees of freedom and specified for the wall support area of the wall properties. KLL head code ACI AISE. For the KLL factor in accordance with the table 4.2 and ASCE 705 ASCE 710 load reductions plane indicate for the grade along with the wall is placed. All panels edit concrete wall span property set wall support angles FX FY FZ MX MM MY MZ. You specify transitional rotation degrees freedom and support acts fixed indicate the support is fixed and specify the direction. Free indicates the support is free to move. Has stiffness applied in specific direction. Translation stiffness X, Y, and Z. Use to specify to translate stiffness applied in direction is not fixed. Release spring linear, spring non-linear, rotational stiffness X, Y, and Z. Use to specify rotational stiffness applied with the direction not fixed. Release spring linear, spring non-linear reinforcement. Include end zone cleared wall design with the end zones of the reinforcement. Check with the wall design with the end zones of the reinforcement. Reinforcement country. Specify with the country which of the reinforcement properties belong. From form, bar, and mesh. Wall zone, rip type, horizontal, vertical, head code, Euro code, BS, or IS, plane type 1, type 2, rip type, horizontal, vertical, head code, ACI, plane or deformed. Classic horizontal, vertical, the reinforcement grades are available here and set for the materials button with a home ribbon and rib type confinement, head code, URO code, BSIS, plane type 1 and 2. Rib type confinement, headed code AC, plane and deformed. Class confinement, the reinforcement grades available here instead of the material buttons on the home ribbon. End zone, rib type, horizontal and vertical, head code, Euro code, BSIS, plane type 1 and 2. Rib type, horizontal, vertical, head code ACI, plane conformed. Plane and deformed horizontal class horizontal vertical reinforcement grade available here on a set of the material buttons for the home ribbon. Rib type confinement head code Euro code BS or IS plane type 1 and 2. Rib type confinement head code ACI plane deformed class confinement the reinforcement grade available here set with the material buttons on the home ribbon. Panel 1, 2, 3, etc. Multi-stack wall properties to be entered from the specific panel overriding those defined at all panels level. See edit concrete wall span property set. Counting the floor as being supported, head code, Euro code, BS. If the check of the floor treated supported when the calculating imposed load reduction, let's see load reduction. Restrain use indicate the level of the wall. Restrain only level the connecting member listed. Meshing, mesh weld only. Override model, select the checkbox for the override the default wall mesh. Specify the structure properties, wall mesh horizontal, override the default wall horizontal mesh size 1 meter. Wall mesh vertical size, override the default wall vertical mesh size 1 meter. Wall mesh type use specify the wall mesh type quad only try only quad dominant. You define attributes to customize list of the attributes can be applied with the individual members and panels. Edit concrete wall span property set. Following properties of the display property windows you select on an individual plan with existing concrete wall property and description. Grade. Concrete grades available here to set from the material buttons with the home ribbon. Thickness of the wall. Alignment of the wall front back middle user. Alignment over the offset. Alignment offset set of the user adjusted by specifying exact offset. Assume cracked concrete sections have a different analytical properties. Uncracked concrete sections assume crack end extension 1 amount with the wall extended trim back from end 1 with the top of the extension extended with the wall length beyond its insertion point. Negative extension trim back from insertion point. See concrete wall section. End 2 extension amount of the wall extended with the trim back from end 2 with the top extension extended with the wall beyond length beyond its insertion point. Negative extension trims the wall back from the insertion point. Concrete walls extension reinforcement layers. Number of layer reinforcements to be used 1 and 2. Releases minor top fixed pin continuous incoming pin members pin continuous option only available to FEM mesh walls see wall releases. Minor bottom fixed pin continuous income members pin continuous option and only available to FE mesh walls see wall releases. Design permanent load ratio option. Eurocode is required for the supply of the value with a permanent load ratio. Parameter default 0.65 has been assumed that you are advised to consider the appropriate adjustment necessary relative to the humidity. RH Eurocode only entered as the percentage age with loading. Eurocode only age where the loading is applied. Confinement and reinforcement. Provided support region. Check confinement reinforcement design separately in 3 regions. Cleared the same confinement reinforcement design for the whole stack. Slenderness major and minor. Braced and bracing. Effective length of the factor direction major and minor calculated with user input and stiffness. User slab calculation upper major minor lower major minor unrestrained length connect calculation slab exists for the panel end cannot be ignored unchecking relevant box. No slab exists at the end of the setting of the redundant, in which case the program consider the setting of the remote end of the next panel instead clear height. Nominal cover the nominal cover over the distance between the surface and reinforcement of the nearest concrete surface include length surface of reinforcement where relevant to the nearest concrete surface. In seismic force restraint, in this case, select the checkbox specified with the seismic force reinforcement system direction type of the design matter of the seismic force reinforcement systems only support with the ACI AISC head code in the current release. Editing concrete column properties. Set with the following properties are displayed with the property window. Select one of the more existing concrete menu columns. For individual column properties displayed with the dialog, right click for the selecting editing property description. Name automatically generated for the column. User can be override automatically generated name as required. Group the automatically generated name for the column group. The top level specified with the top level of the column. Base level specified with the bottom level of the column. Plane to indicate for the grid along with the column is placed. Concrete, normal or lightweight. Characteristic column, material type concrete. Construction concrete column. Fabrication reinforced precast. Design precast members of the beyond scope of the current release. Auto design clear specified with the reinforcement. Check with the during the design process. Check with the reinforcement with the design during the design process. See auto design concrete column. Selecting bar start from the option control starting point of the auto design. Proceed with therefore only display with the automatic design is on and apply with both longitudinal bars and links. Minimum default with the result of the current arrangement. Begin with the minimum allowable bar size with the current auto design commencement with the current bar arrangement. See auto design concrete column. Rotation of the member of the local axis 090 180 negative 90. Allows column global axis lines column with the exact rotation angle specified with the vertical column the default degrees 0 line local y with global x rotation angle the end with the directly steady above the rotation angle. Assume the extra floors supported. Number the extra floors assumed to support by the column all stacks. Section applied with the column that is graded. See section concrete column. Concrete class grades available here set from the materials button with a home ripping limited area. All of the beams of the covered in columns restricted to the straight. Release is free and top of the when the checkbox is selected the defensive free end of the top of the top stack of the most stack of the column available the top most stack only. Fixed city top individual stacks can be set with the fixed and pin with the FE required with the pin in one direction. Fixed over you can do with the column property dialog. See column release. Fixed city bottom. See fixed city top. Free end to bottom, which is checked with the select with the defined free end of the bottom most stack of the column available the top most stack only. Alignment major snap level. Alignment major property top center and bottom. Major offset of the column snap point major axis minor snap level alignment minor properties left center centroid right minor offset use the offset of the column the snap point with the minor axis designer control assume crack concrete section differential analytical properties uncracked concrete section assume cracked apply rigid zone use unless cleared rigid zones are automatically created with the connection between the column and any of the connection between the beams applying application rigid zone parameter load ratio option Eurocode only you are required to supply a value permanent load ratio. The default of 0.65 has been assumed to divide with considered as the appropriate adjustment necessary. Relative to humidity, RH, a Eurocode only entered as a percentage. After loading, Eurocode only age at which loading is applied. Confinement reinforcement provides support regions. Checked confinement reinforcement is designed separately with 3 reasons. Cleared same confinement region reinforcement is designed for the whole stack cylinders. Direction 1, direction 2 with the bracing classification set with the brace as the bracing either the building direction 1 and 2, whether the direction 1 and 2 with the design calculation columns major minor direction depends on the column's rotation angle, effective length with the factor of direction 1, direction 2 with the brace, effective length factor, so either calculate user input value each of the building direction 1 and 2 with the direction 1 and 2 apply with the design calculation column major minor direction depends on the column's rotation angle. Stiffness. Use slab for calculation upper major minor lower major minor with the unrestrained length of the calculation. Slab exists for the stack end with the ignore with the unchecking relevant box. If no slab exists at the end of the setting of the redundant, in which case the program consider the setting of the remote end of the next stack instead of the clear height. Lambda crit check of the drift check with my default all stack with the column taken into account with the calculation determined the sway with the sensitivity with the bottom the result of the calculation being active the relative toolbar the parameter provided the facility to exclude particular column stacks with these calculation void spheres result associated with a very small stack of links. You can either clear with the checkbox located on the all stack and exclude the entire column. You can exclude with a particular stack with clearing the checkbox located under the stack only. WinDrift check with the drift with automatically check with the unspecified limiting ratio can save different column with the result of the calculation success with the review toolbar. If you don't want to check with this perform, so you can either check the box located with the all stacks to exclude with the entire column, or you can exclude with a particular stack by clearing a checkbox located on the stacks only. Nominal cover. Nominal concrete cover the distance between the surface of reinforcement close to the nearest concrete surface includes length surface of reinforcement where relevant to the nearest concrete surface. Seismic and seismic reinforce resistance, and in this case checkbox for the specify the SFRS direction type of the meshes members of the seismic force resistance system only supported by the ASIC head code for the current release. User defined attributed customized limited so the attributed apply with the individual members and panels. Rib type vertical head code Eurocode BSIS plane type 1 type 2 rib type vertical head code ACI plain and deformed. Class vertical, the reinforcement grades available here show the material button for the home rib and the rib type confinement head code Eurocode BSIS plain type 1 type 2 rib type confinement head code ACI plain and deformed. Class link tie confinement, the reinforcement grade available to show the material buttons for the home ribbon stack 1, 2, and 3, etc. Multi-step column property with entered from the specific stack overriding with the defining all stack level, all stacks. Gamma angle to derive the rotation angle with the value defined with the orientation major axis section. Gamma angle level. Count of the floor being supported. Head code Eurocode BSIS. Check with the floor retrieve with the support with the calculating imposed load productions. KL head code ACI ASIC. Specify KL factor according to table 4.2 when the ASAE 705 ASCE 710 load restrictions. Edit concrete property sets. Concrete beam property sets. Found with the property display with the property beam. Select one of the more existing concrete beams. For individual beam with the property, give it a display with the dialog. Right clicking and selecting edit. Property general description. General name automatically generated with the column. Can be used to override automatically generated name required. Username group. They automatically generated with the beam group. Plane it indicates the level the beam is placed. Concrete normal lightweight. Characteristic beam. Material type concrete. Construction concrete beam. Fabricated reinforced post tension precast design precast post tension beams is beyond scope of the current release. Or design clear specified reinforcement check for the during the design process. Check for the reinforcement of the design during the design process. Also see auto design concrete beam. Select bars and starting bar with the option control of the starting point with the auto design procedure. Therefore, the display with the automatic design is on or apply with the both longitudinal bars and links. Minimum to default for the remove of the current arrangement begins with the minimum amount of loud bar side with the current auto design commences with the current bar arrangement. Rotation member around local x after the default degrees of the line major property with the global x and the global z axis provided the member has not been specifically defined in the incline plane. If it's 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees angle on the rotation angle, to enter the end angle directly above the rotation angle, allow the automatically join end with the check for the selected with the end question with the automatically suitable the concrete, connecting concrete beam end during the design process. The beam lines command with the running with the provided beam lines limiting criteria specified model zoom. Settings replace section. The section applied with the beam is created with the concrete class. The concrete grades are available here to set from the materials, but only with a home ribbon. Linearity, straight curve major, curve minor. Chord height properties only displayed linear curve of the major curve minor. The perpendicular distance of the midpoint of the curve chord baseline is the curve itself. Maximum facet error of the properties only display the linearity and curve of the major and curve minor of the control of the number of straight lines elements with the replace with the curve member and solver model. See maximum facet error. For Freehand 1, freehand 2. When checkbox is selected, defines cantilever and beam release. Fix end 1, fix end 2. Moment of pin full fix and beam release. Torsional load release end 1 and 2. Check 1 to define the torsional release. Load reductions. KL head code ACI ASC. Specify KL factor according to table 42. ASC E7005 ASC E710 load reductions. Alignment major snap level. The alignment of minor property top center and bottom. Major offset of the beam snap point with the major axis. Minor snap level alignment of the minor property left center centroid right. Minor offset of the beam of the snap point with a major axis. Deflection limited to immediate live load deflection. ACI only input a proportional snap length. Limited for the total deflection effectiveness sensitive to finish. ACI only input with a proportional span length. Calculate the total deflection at the design time. ASI only option. The option influence of the deflection calculated the reference guide for the concrete design. AS360 beam design. Further details calculated deflection after installation finish. ASI only option influence the deflection calculated. See the reference guide concrete. AS3600 beam design for further details. Design control. Structure support sensitive finishes. ACI only the option influence of the deflection check of the perform. Increase reinforcement deflection check failed for the Eurocode. BSI ISO selected in order to increase the reinforcement design during automatic design process. The deflection check fails. Permissible increase of the reinforcement for the permit maximum permit percentage increase for reinforcement with allowed for the order to satisfy the deflection check. Consider flange. Select in order to consider flange and concrete beam design calculation. One check additional fields for the display of specifying allowance for the opening flange dimension for the calculated additive of the beam. One check for the position shell slab for the defined and K for the calculated flange. Bottom is also a display that can be clicked for the automatically calculated flange dimension based on the joining spans. View for the beam flanges. Include flange analysis property only display with the consider flange option when it has been selected. Select the checkbox flange beam. Properties have the analysis to be formed. View for the beam flanges. Isolated beam ACI only. The property is displayed with the consider the flange option with the selected. Select the checkbox apply with the ACI 318 clause 8.12.4, which check for the performed flange geometry does not meet the requirements of flange required. Ignore view the beam properties. Beam flange, user-defined flange left or right. The properties only displayed with the included flange analysis have checked for the clear the checkbox flange depth effect for the flange width determined automatically. If you select the checkbox for the new property to display with the defined flange width, flange depth, view of the beam flange, assume cracks, concrete section, crack concrete section have the different analytical property. Uncracked concrete section, assume crack. Design parameter, permanent load ratio option Eurocode. You're required to apply value of the permanent load radio parameter. Or default 0.65 is assumed, but you have divided with the conservative appropriate as necessary. Maximum crack width 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Normal cover the normal concrete cover the distance between the surface of the reinforcement close to the nearest concrete surface. Include link surface of reinforcement rather than the nearest concrete surface. The different value of the normal cover specified with the beam edge inside end seismic and seismic force resistance system. In this case, the selecting checkbox specified with the S seismic force resistance system direction. Tie the time member of the seismic force resistance system only supported for the ACI ASC head code for the current release. User-defined element attributed to the customized list of attributes to apply with the individual members and panels. Reinforcement, rib type longitudinal, head code Eurocode BSIS, plane type 1, type 2, rib type longitude, head code ACI, plane and deform, class longitude, reinforcement grade with available here set from the material button home ribbon, rib type links, head code Eurocode BSIS, plane type 1 and 2, rib type headed stirrups, head code ACI, plane and deform, class link stirrups, available class specified the materials dialog on home ribbon, top longitudinal bar pattern, choose from one of 3 standard patterns which can be set up with the design option to control the top bar arrangement with the beam is auto design. See longitudinal reinforcement concrete beam. Bottom longitudinal pattern bar pattern. Choose one of the 2 standard patterns which can be set up with the design option to control the bottom bar arrangement of the beam and its auto design. See longitudinal reinforcement concrete beam, span 1, span 2, etc. Multi-span properties enter for the specific span overriding those defined in all span levels. See all spans. Timber member properties. Top section. Timber properties assumption. Timber column property set for the timber beam property set for the timber brace property set. Edit timber column property set. Edit timber property beam property set. Edit timber brace property set. Edit timber truss property. Timber property assumption of the engineer shall verify the appropriate selected properties are those of the character of the materials obtained with the update with the manufacturer's data applicable with the analyst data model. Analyst modification factors must also be confirmed with the correct head code with the Eurocode file assumptions have been made. Loading will be perpendicular with a wide face of the limitation of the bending of the major act. The moisture content of the section will be less than 15%. Analyst modification factor needed to be applied with not the case. Gloom will graded being used comply with the characteristic properties outlined in BSEN for 140802-2013. Engineer has verified E-analysis value of the member is suitable for the particular application. Section strength is compatible. Go to ACI ASC. The following assumptions have been made with the moisture content structural composite lumber to gloom sections less than 16% of the temperature remains on below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Analysis modifications may be needed to apply with not the case. Gloom section will be loaded perpendicular wide face of lamination bending with the X and X axis. Gloom grade being complied with the characteristics of the properties of AWC with the NDS supplement 2012. The engineer verified E-analysis value of the member is suitable for particular application. Section strength of the KL class are compatible. Edit timber column properties set. With the following properties of the display, you select one or more existing column, timber columns, editing column property of the display with the dialog, right click with the selecting edit. Property description, name of the automatically generated name, the username can be override automatically generated name requirement, group the name of the group of the column belongs, top level the vertical position of the column, top of the property only display in the 2D floor views, base level the vertical position of the column, base property only display in the 2 floor views, plane that indicate for the grade along with the column place, column characteristic column, material type timber, auto design not applicable. The timber section cannot be designed, check with the Tekla structural designer. Designer section order not applicable. Timber section cannot be designed, check with the Tekla structural designer. Rotation of the member around local axis 0, 90, 180, 190, negative 90 aligned with the column global axis, angle aligned with the column exact rotation angle specified with the vertical column default degree 0 degrees aligning Y with global X axis. C rotation angle directly set with the rotation to the angle. Major snapper level the define alignment with the major property top center centroid bottom. Major offset the offset of the column with the standpoint with the major axis. Minor snapper alignment with the minor property left center with centroid right. Minor offset of the column with the standpoint with the minor axis, assuming the extra floor supported number of the extra floors is assumed to support from the column C load restriction all stack section applied with the column is grade with the grade with the define with the timber grade with the column available with the grades with the material volume with the home ribbon. Release is defined with the end of the release. Instability factor to prevent out of the plane instability defined out of plane stability is prevented. Gamma angle with the drive with the rotation angle with the value defined with the orientation major axis section. Level load restriction specified with the KL according to the table 42 ASC E7005 ASC E710. Load restriction user defined attributed customizable attributed supply with the individual members and panels. Modeling topics modeling timber columns. Edit timber beam property set with the following property display with selecting one or more existing timber members. Individual beams property display with the dialog right clicking and selecting edit name with the automatically generated username override generated name with the required group. The name of the group of the beam belongs. Plane indicates the level the beam is placed. Characteristic beam material type timber. Fabrication timber gloom. Structural composite lumber. Auto design not applicable. The timber section cannot be designed. Check with the Tekla structural design. Design section ordered not applicable. The timber section cannot be designed. Check with the Tekla structural designer. Rotation of the definement of the rotation member around local axis with default of degrees aligned with a major property with the global Z axis provided the member has not been specifically defined in the inclined plane. Rotation angle into the angle directly of the C of the above the rotation angle the major snap level the line with the major property top center with centroid bottom. Major offset of the beam of the snap point with the major axis. Major snap level the line with the minor property left centroid left center centroid right. Minor offset of the beam snap point with the minor axis. All span section with the supply with the beam that is graded. Grade the define with the timber grade with the beam with the available grade with the material with the beam button on the home ribbon. Linearity indicates the beam is straight or curved. Gamma angle derived with the rotation angle the value of the define with the orientation major axis section. Release defined with the end release and stability factor preventing out of the plane's instability defined the out plane instead. Stability is prevented. User defined attributed customized list of attributes applied with the individual members or panels. Edit timber brace properties. The following property of the display with a list of selecting more than existing timber brace with the individual brace with the property of the display with the dialog right clicking and selecting edit. Name of the automatically generated name of the brace U that can be override automatically generated name and required with the name of the group of the brace belong with the plane that indicates the level of the brace applied. Characteristic brace material type timber. Fabrication timber gloom and structural composite lumber. Auto design not applicable. The timber section cannot be designed with the Tekla structure. Design section order not applicable. The timber section cannot be designed. Check with the Tekla structure. Rotation define rotation member to round local X default degree 0 with a major property within global Z axis. Further, the member has not been specified to define with the inclined plane. C rotation rotation angle to infinite angle to directly see above the rotation angle, alignment, major to snap level of alignment, the major property top or centroid bottom, major offset, even the offset of the brace and snap point with the major axis, minor snap level of alignment with the minor property left centroid right, minor offset of the brace with the snap point with the minor axis, all span section with the section applied with the brace, grade with the define with the timber, grade with the brace, available the grades are set with the materials on the home ribbon, compression only, specify with the braces, and compression only, timber, tension only, specify with the braces, tension only, gamma angle to define with the rotation angle, the value to define with the orientation major axis, section relief to define with the end release, kill load reduction KLL, specify the KLL factor in accordance with table 4.2 ASCE 705, ASCE 710, load reductions. User defined attributed to the customized list of attributes that can apply with the individual members or panels, and edit timber truss property. The following properties are display with selecting one or more existing timber truss. Name automatically generated truss in the grid line selective. The username can be the override automatically generated name required. Auto design not Apple. The timber section cannot be designed. Check with the Tekla Tricks design. Truss top member section size. Grave. The timber grave is available here. Set with the material buttons. Home riveted design sector with non Apple. The timber section cannot be designed. Check with the Tekla structural designer. Rotation of the default degree 0 with the line with the major property of the global Z axis. Rotation angle to infinite directly with above. Rotation to the angle truss bottom members section size. Grave the timber grave available here to set with the material button with the home ribbon. Design section order not Apple. The timber section cannot be designed. Check for the Tekla structure design. Rotation with the member to local axis with the default degrees of the major property within the global Z axis provided the member has not been specified the defined inclined plane. Rotation angle to the end for the angle directly set with the above the rotation angle, the truss interval section selection side of the grade, the timber grade available here to set with the material button, the home ribbon design section order with the not Apple the timber section cannot be designed. Tekla structural designer. Rotation of the member local axis with the default degrees aligned with the major properties of the global Z axis that provided the member has been specified defined inclined plane. Rotation angle to the enter the angle directly above the rotation angle. Use the defined areas attributed customized attributed that can apply with the individual members and panels. Alright, cold form member properties, cold form, create cold form column properties, create cold form beam properties, create cold form brace properties, edit form cold properties, edit cold form beam properties, edit cold form brace properties set, edit cold form truss properties. Alright, created cold form properties set with the following procedure to display with create with the cold form property and description top level of the define with the vertical position column top of the property only display with the 2 floor D's base level of the vertical position column base for the property once display with the 2 D floor views continuous indicate that all the same property check that all the sticks have the same sharp cleared all splices to be positioned enable a different stick that have the different properties. The properties once displayed in the structure and the frame view with characteristic column material type cold stress relief head code AS only indicate the cold form member is stress relief with not. I'll use automatic group to indicate with the group names are created automatically. Check with the group names are created automatically. Clear the group names are entered manually. Rotate for the rotation members around local axis 0, 90, 180, 90. Along with the column of the global axis, the angle of the line with the column of the exact rotation over the specify with the define with the angle with the line with the column angle with the grid line with the select the vertical column with the default with the degree 0 with the line with the Y and global X axis of the rotation enter the angle directly see with above the rotation angle. Grade defined with the steel grade with the column available the grade with the material buttons from the home ribbon and auto design head code AC, BS, and AS. Cleared specified section check during the design process. Check the section of the design section order to consider during the process. So auto design and other head codes not applicable forward section cannot be designed or checked. The design section order of the design order file with the section size will be selected. The auto design is employed. See designer selection section order design section order than the head code not applicable form section cannot be designed or checked. Section apply with the column is created with major alignment to define alignment with the major property of the top center of the centroid bottom of the minor define element of the minor property left centroid right relief defined with the end relief in stability factor defined out of plane stability is prevented. Prevent out-of-plane instability. User defined and attributed to the customizable attributes can be applied with the individual members and panels. Created cold form beam property set with the following properties display with the creative with the cold form beam. Continue with the define with the beam and singles multi-span. Check with the creative with the single span beam. Check with the creative multi-span continuous beam. Characteristic beam material type cold form. Stress relief head code AS only. Indicate with the cold form measured and member is stress relieved or not. Linearity indicate with the beam is straight or curved. The automatic grouping indicate with the group name for the creative with automatically check with the group name created automatically. automatically create with the group names enter manually. Rotation define the rotation member around with local axis default degree 0 aligned with the major property of the global Z axis provided the member has not been specifically defined within the inclined plane. Rotation angle to enter the angle directly with the rotating angle with the grade to define the seal grade with the beam available the grade with the material with the button of the home ribbon. Auto design head code E, C, B, S, and or AS. Clear specified section with a check for the during the design process. Check for the section with the design section order will be considered during the design process. Auto design steel. Auto design other head code for the not applicable form section cannot be designed or checked. The design section order of the head code ECBSAS design order file with the section size selected. The auto design is employed. Design section order other head code. The not applicable form section cannot be designed or checked. The section applied with the beam is gray of the major alignment of the major property top center and centroid bottom of the manor alignment of the minor property to the left center and centroid right. Release defining the end of the release and stability factor providing out of plane instability defined out of plane stability is prevented. User defined attributed to the customized attributes can be applied with the individual members or panels. Created cold form brace property sets following the properties displayed with the created cold form brace. Property description template defined with a brace pattern applied with the characteristic brace material type cold form stress relief head code AS only. Indicates for the cold form member stress relief they're not use the automatic grouping. Indicate with the group name with the created automatically. Check with the group names created automatically. Clear group names are entered manually. Rotation to define with the rotation member around local axis of default degrees aligned with the major property with the global axis provided the member has not been specifically defined in the inclined plane. See rotation angle to the angle with the directly set with the rotation angle with the grave, the define the steel grave with the brace available, the grave with the material button with the home ribbon, auto design head code EC, ABS, and AS clear with the specified section. Check it during the design process. Check section with the design section order will be checked during the design process. See auto design seal. Auto design other codes that not applicable form section cannot be designed or checked. Design section head code ECBS ASF so the design order of the file from the section side of the select of the auto design employed. Design section order other than the head code not applicable form section cannot be designed or checked. Section of the section initially applied with the braces created. Major alignment with the major property top center and centroid bottom minor alignment of minor properties left center centroid right. Relief to define and release. User define and attributed to the customized list of attributes can apply with the individual members and panels. Edit cold form column properties. The following property display with the use can select one or more existing cold form columns. The individual column can be displayed with the dialog right clicking and selecting edit. Name of the automatically generated name for the column. Username can be override automatically generated name of a group. The name of the group of the column belongs. Top level the vertical position column type of the property or display with the 2D floors. Base of the level that define the vertical position of the column. Base of the property display with the 2D floors. Plane that indicate the grade along with the column displays. Characteristic column material type cold form. Stress relief head code AS only. Indicate the cold form member to stress relief or not. Auto design head code ECBS AS cleared with the specified section. Check it during the design process. Check section order will be considered during the design process. The auto design seal. Auto design other head codes not applicable form section cannot be designed or checked. The design section other head code ECBS AS design order file. The section size will be selected. Auto design is employed. Design section order other head codes not applicable form section cannot be designed or checked. Rotation from the member around its local x-axis 0, 90, 180, negative 90 allows the angle of the global axis line with the column the exact rotation angle to specify the vertical column the default degree 0 along the local y with the global x angle. C rotation angle to enter the angle degree. C with above the rotating angle with a major snap level to define alignment major top center centroid bottom major offset with the column the snap point with the major axis. Minor snap alignment of the minor property left center centroid right. Minor offset of the L column with a snap point over the minor axis. Assume the extra floors imported. Number of extra floors assume supported by the column load production all stack. Section of the section applied with the column is grade with the grade defined with the steel grade with the column available the grade set with the material buttons with the home ribbon and relief defined with the end release size constraint. Size constraints only applicable with the auto design check that allow the impose the upper lower limited section depth and width. The instability factor preventing out of the plane stability defined out of plane stability is prevented. Limba credit check with the drift check with the by default all stack with the elements are taken into account with the calculation to determine the sway sensitivity and result of the calculation being accessed with the review to layer parameter provided with the facility exclude with the particular column stack with the calculation assume void spurious result with associated with a very small stack length. So you can either clear checkbox located in all stacks exclude with the entire column and exclude with a particular stack by clearing with the checkbox located with the stack only. Wind drift check automatically check against the specified limiting ratio with a different column with the result of the calculation left of the review toolbar. If you don't want to check what they perform, you can either clear the checkbox located at all stacks to exclude the entire column, like exclude the particular stack by clearing the checkbox located under the stack only. Gamma angle with the derive of the rotation angle with the value of the defined with the orientation major axis section level load reduction. Count the floor as being supported head code ECBSA. Selected floor will be treated support with the calculating imposed load reductions. Load reductions KL head code ACI ASC. Specify KL factor according to the table 42 ASC E7005 ASC E710. User defined attributed to customized list of attributes that can be applied with the individual members or panels. Modeling steel columns, cold form columns, edit cold form beam properties, the following properties to display with the button selecting more existing cold form beam with the individual beam property to display with the dialog. Right click with selecting edit. Name the automatically generated name of the user, either the override automatically generated name or the group of the name of the group of the beam belong with a plain individual level of the beam display with the characteristics of beam with the types of cold form, stress relief head code AS, indicate if the cold form member is stress relief or not. Auto code head code ECBSA as clear for the specified section. Check it during the design process and check the section with the design section order. Consider that during the design process assign other codes. Not after the cold form sections cannot be designed or check the design section other code head code ECBSA as design order file. Some section size select for the auto design employed. Design section other order other than codes not after the cold form section cannot be designed or checked. Rotation, define when the rotation member along with the local axis of the default of the 0 degree of the line major property the global z axis of the provided the member has not been specifically defined with the inclined plane. Rotation ends for the angle of the degree directly set above the rotation angle of the major snap level of the line with the major property top center centroid bottom. Major offset of the beam of the snap of the point with the major axis minor snap level of the line with the minor property left centroid right. Minor offset u the offset of the beam of the snap point with the minor axis all span section when it is initially implied with the beam that's grave with the grave of the beam defined with the shield grave with the beam of the available the grave of the step with the materials line with the home ribbon. Linearity indicate if the beam is straight or curved. Gamma angle with the derive of the rotation angle with the value of the divides. Orientation major axis section relief to define the end release. Instability factor with the out of plane stability is prevented. Preventing out of plane instability, user defined attributed to customized attributes that can be applied to individual members or panels. Modeling steel beam cold forms. Editing cold form brace property set. The following properties are displayed with selecting one more existing cold form brace for the individual brace property to display with the dialog. Right clicking and selecting edit. General name, the description, the automatically generated brace. Either the cast can be either the override automatically generated name group, the name of the group to be the brace long. Plane indicates the level of the brace display with the characteristic brace, the material type cold form, stress relief head code AS only, indicate if the cold form member is stress relief or not. Auto design head code ECBAS, clear for the specified section, check for the during the design process. Check section with the design section order will be considered during the design process. Auto design other head codes that not after the cold form section cannot be designed or check the design section order head code ECBSA. Design order file with the section size will be selected with auto design employed. Design section order other head codes not after the cold form section cannot be designed or checked. Rotation, define the rotation member of the local axis of default degrees aligned with a major property within the global z axis provided the member has not been specifically designed inclined plane. Rotation angle, the angle they directly set above the rotation angle, the main alignment, the major snap level, alignment of the major property top center, centroid bottom, major offset, the brace snap point with the major axis, minor snap in alignment with the minor property left center, centroid right. Minor offset of the brace snap point with the minor spans. All span section define the section applied with the brace. Grave with the define with the graded steel grave with available the grave with the material home on the home ribbon. Compression only space for the brace on the compression only. Tension only space for the brace for tension only. Gain will of the rotation of the value of the defines. Orientation major axis section relief defining the end release load restriction special KL factor according to table 42 ASC E705 ASC E710. User defined attributed to customize list of attributes that apply with the individual members and panels. Edit cold form truss property the following property with the display with the when selecting one or more existing cold properties with the name of the automatically generated name of the truss derived with the grid line section. Selected username can be either override with the automatically generated name if required. Auto design head code ECBSAS cleared specified section check during the design process. Check a section of the design section under the during the design process. Auto design other head codes. Not applicable to code form section cannot be designed or checked. Design section order head code ECBSAS. Design order file with the section size selected the other design employed. Design section other order other head code not applicable form section cannot be designed or checked. Section type of the trust member grade. Seal grade for the trust member. The variable the grade for the type of the materials on the home group and the rotation of the rotation member the local access. Default 0 degrees. The line with the major property with the global Z axis provided the member has not been specifically defined. Incline plane rotation angle. And for the angle to directly see with the rotation angle, the use of the define attribute to customize with the list of attributes to comply with the individual members and panels, modeling steel properties, cold rolled properties created, cold rolled section properties, edited cold rolled section properties, created cold rolled section properties, the following properties display with the create any type of the cold rolled section sections. Property and description, element, parameters, character of the chosen type of the cold rolled section, material cold rolled, construction of the chosen type of the cold rolled section, fabrication cold rolled, linearity, straight, using automatic cleared group names entered manually, check the group names cleared automatically, created automatically, rotation mode around the local axis of the default degree of the line major property of the global Z axis, provided the member has not specifically defined within the incline plane, rotation angle with the angle directly above the rotation angle with the grade, steel grades available here to set up the material buttons on the home group and auto design not applicable to the cold rolled section cannot be designed check the Tekla structure. Design section order not applicable to cold sections cannot be designed check the Tekla structure. Section of the cold rolled section size. Major alignment with the major property top centroid bottom. Minor alignment of minor property left centroid center right. Release end of the release. Use a define attribute to customize list of attributes to comply with the individual manners and panels. Edit cold roll section properties. The following property display with the one site selecting one or the more existing cold rolls selecting the individual section property with the display with the dialog right clicking selecting edit. Name, automatically generated name of the member. User can view the override automatically generated name of the acquired group, the name of the group to which member belongs, playing with indicate the level of the member's place. Characteristic chosen type of the cold rolled section. Material cold rolled. Construct the chosen type of the cold rolled section. Fabrication cold rolled. Also not applicable the cold rolled section can not be designed with the Tekla structural design. Design section or not applicable cold rolled section cannot be designed. Check with the Tekla structural designer. Rotation of the member to local axis. The x-axis of the default of the major property with the global Z provided that the members have not been specifically defined incline plane, rotation element for the angle directly with the rotation angle with a major snap level, the line with the top center with the center over the bottom, major offset of the base with the snap point with the major axis, minor snap with the snap level, alignment with the minor property level, centroid right, minor offset of the base with the snap point with the minor axis, all span section with the cold roll section size grade, available grades are set with the material buttons with the home ribbon, the gap at angle with the drive with the rotation angle with the value defined with the orientation major axis selection section, relief define end release, load react reduction, specify the KL factor accordance to table 42 ASE 705 ASE 710. User define attribute to customize list of attributes to apply with the individual members and panels, slab properties, map properties, openings, overhangs, column drops, rotation angle and panels, slab property topics, slab properties, slab beams, item properties, flat slab, item properties, precast, item properties, steel deck, item set, property set, timber deck item set, composite slab item property set, edit slab on beam item property set, edit flat slab item property set, edit recast item property set, edit timber deck items property set, edit composite slab item property set. Or slab properties of the display with existing with the parent slab branch of the structural tree, slab general name. Generated name, user overridden name, slab type, defined slab type, deck type, defined slab type, decomposition opinion, slab type, one or two way, slab parameter design parameters, remaining parameter display depending on slab item referred to individual slab item properties, end slab beams on the property shelf of the following property display with select one more existing slab on beams, individual slab property display with the dialog right click and edit it, general the name automatically generated, view the override generated main rotation angle, specify the orientation reinforcement different angle, specify the different panels of the slab, include a diaphragm and if the option is clear for the slab item, it does not participate in the diaphragm action. All nodes of the link to the slab item will be able to displace independently of the diaphragm override slab the depth of the default option slab at the depth of the same depth of the check with the option selected panel with a different depth of the vertical offset offset with the available the override slab with the depth of the check with the offset is raised with the slab panel surface with the negative offset with the drops of vertical offset is not structural significant auto design for panels auto design AS approved the increase of the either path or achieved with a limiting reinforcement parameter limited to efficacy for the panels not auto design mode with the result will in the P pass or fail selecting bar starting with with the option controlling the starting point auto design procedure. Minimum of the default with the remove of the current arrangement begins with the minimum allowed bar side of the current auto design commencement with the current bar arrangement plane indicate the level of the slab item place, slab general, the name, parent slab, slab on beam, the deck type of the reinforcement, concrete post tension with the design, post tension, slab beyond the scope of the current release, decomposition, one way, two way, design general, one way spanning slab beyond scope of the current release, slab parameters, slab properties, depth specified the slab thickness, concrete normal, lightweight, concrete class, specified concrete grade, concrete aggregated, specified aggregated type, concrete density, normal wave of the concrete, specified the density class, dense dry density, specified the dry concrete density, wet density, specified the wet concrete density, diaphragm options, select the default diaphragm action, slab items with the parent slab, non semi-rigid, rigid design parameter, permanent load ratio, head code, Euro code. You're required to supply a value with a permanent load ratio, permanent with a default 0.65 assumed, but you're avoided to consider the probability to adjust if necessary. Maximum crack with a head code, Euro code 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Design parameter adjust the ratio of the factors applied with the enclosed length of the X in order to manually adjust the X direction span with span effective depth. Check. Adjustment ratio of the factors applied with the length enclosed and length Y in order to manually check the Y direction span with span effective depth. Check. Close length of the automatically calculated span minimum length of the X direction and closing length of the automatically calculated span length Y direction adjusting length of the automatically span length from the X direction and automatic adjust length Y adjust the span length Y direction in each category starting with X assume the support condition start spanning the X direction and edge category ending with X assume the support condition and span in the X direction and category starting with Y assume the support condition start span Y direction edge category and Y assume the supported condition and span Y direction average stiffness ratio head code ACI ASCA current release Tekla structure design average stiffness ratio the user defined default 1.0 with a wave with a minimum thickness calculated directly depends on the value. Live load production reduce live loads by the property applicable the design transfer slab match although the percentage live load production is not determined automatically. The property allows you to specify the percentage manually. It can be applied with an individual slab item and they don't have it applied with a single value throughout the slab mat. This can be important with the discrete transfer panels with large sub areas. Slab areas reduce load cases reduce combination incorporating reducible load case reduce result of the uniform slab design for the mass of the bearing pressure reduced as well. Reinforcement slab panels can potentially have 4 layers of background reinforcement. However, the layers directly with the B side with the offset of the top slab, top X, top Y, bottom slab with the bottom X, bottom Y, bottom X. So to clear outside X direction that is appropriately indicated the outside with the X and Y direction. Outside layer can be different with the top and the bottom bars. All edges linear with the unchecked with the order of the specify. All the edges curvature with the defined with the amount of curvature. All the edges only split linear is cleared. Edge 1, edge 2, etc. Linear with the unchecked with the order of the specify. The curved edge curvature defined with the amount of curvature. Only split with the linear is cleared. User define attributed customized list of attributes applied to the individual members and panels. Edit flash slab item property set. That's property set.